right, just a few minutes, 2 seconds here till we go live with our cool new guest, Mersive Solstice. Getting excited about this this live stream. It's going to be a cool one. 10 seconds here, and we are going to go live. Okay, everyone, my name is Paul Richards. I'm your host today. My host, Patrick Kirby, is a little bit, he's predisposed today, so we'll see if he'll make it in. But we are introducing Christopher Jaynes. How you doing today, Christopher?
Good, how are you?
Doing great. You know, it's the beginning of the year. We got a couple new things I want to announce before we go in. We dive right into introducing Mersive Solstice. One is that we're going to be keeping these webinars short this year. We're instead of doing an hour, we are doing 20 minutes. Thank you for joining, Pat.
Sorry, yep, I got hung up on the phone.
We do these in 20-minute spurts, so we don't have a whole lot of time to chit-chat. We're going to get right to the point. And then we're doing these in 1080p this year. So, you know, it's 720p, 1080p. We finally beefed up our computers and all of our streaming technology.
So you can see our beautiful faces.
We are live streaming in 1080p. So let's go ahead and introduce Christopher. So tell us about Mersive, Christopher. Why should we be all using Mersive Solstice to wirelessly present?
Well, in some sense, it's almost inevitable that you'll have to end up using it because the video cable has begun to evaporate out of the conference rooms pretty quickly these days. You know, 4 or 5 years ago when we were doing the scientific research behind Solstice for wireless media streaming to display it, you know, I used to go out and evangelize how important it was that you could take video and you could move it onto a screen from an iPad. These days, you can already do that at home. While you can run on your treadmill and watch Game of Thrones. You come to a conference room where a lot more money is being spent, a lot bigger and more important decisions are being made, and meetings are actually quite terrible. You have to find a video cable. It takes forever to get started. No one can contribute because you've got a single-threaded source. It gets you trapped in these PowerPoint mentalities, and I think corporations and end users are all rethinking that as millennials enter the workforce. So our software allows you to come into a conference room, press a button on any device that you've come in that room with, and stream media live to that screen, and then really treat that screen like a shared collaborative resource rather than, you know, a presentation device that has to be wired to a single source.
Yeah, I'm excited to get a little bit of you know, a demo of that during this call. I've got a couple bullet points I wanted to go over, and I just wanted to start off basically. You know, for those of you who don't know anything about Mersive, it's a piece of software you can install on any Windows PC or purchase an Android appliance that does basically the same thing. I'm sure you're going to talk about that. Yeah. Let's start off with the price. It's $9.99 for unlimited, and then SGE, which is $7.99. You want to kind of explain that?
Yeah, you know, we introduced the SGE edition partly because we believe in the market. You know, I believe that it's not a technology that should be limited to a few conference rooms. We say, hey, you know, this is where we're going to collaborate in this back corner of the office. Most of our customers now are saying they're going to adopt broadly. So it's a corporate initiative. It's an enterprise sale. Every room is now getting a Solstice pod so that as you transition between, you know, a formal conference room, a huddle room and a collaboration space, or even my own office. You know, I walk into my office and I've got a Solstice pod connected there. The SGE edition was for those small time rooms where you're not really going to ever have more than 4 people in that room. We wanted to have an option for customers there that was cheaper. Functionally, they're the same. Unlimited version of Solstice, any number of users, any amount of content can be streamed to that display.
And has that been popular for, you know, universities? I see this. Do you see a lot of movement in the education sector? I see kind of having done, you know, projects and presentations at my university. Everyone's kind of plugging their USB cable and you know, into the computer. You know, it takes time. You know, I could imagine a lot of students, kind of, you know, universities using this in a situation where they just come in and connect to it wirelessly. Have you seen any?
Yeah, that's a great question because it's not only just higher ed, it's just any learning environment. So we're also being deployed in corporate training centers and things as well. I'm an ex-professor, so I'd like to think that some of the workflow that allows students and teachers to interact better is because of our heritage, the corporate heritage we have. What happens in the educational space is you've got tiered classrooms where A professor might have a traditional model where they're teaching class for an hour and they hardly let students interrupt them. Even in those spaces, we're seeing students being able to contribute content in a more seamless way. We have a moderator mode for those spaces because obviously you don't want to have complete free-form ad hoc sharing in an undergraduate conference room. It's an interesting model. We're now in, I think, 15 of the top 20 business schools in higher ed, so Wharton has adopted us in a big way. And, they're an interesting use case because it's not just a tiered classroom environment. It's not a one-to-many model. We're in their tiered classrooms. We're in student study rooms. And we're even in their shared common areas where we're just on a digital signage screen. And that kind of speaks to the reconfigurability of the product and why our centralized dashboard is so important. They use our dashboard to reconfigure each room based on its utilization at any given time.
Wharton, right, yeah, we're definitely going to be, Wharton's right down the street here. So we talked about the price, and then we talked about, did we talk about the Wi-Fi and the Ethernet? So most students, I would think, if we're talking about the educational space, or even if you're in the corporate space, they're expecting to do things wirelessly now. So obviously you can do everything over the Wi-Fi, and then is there any problem with using Ethernet, or how does that all work?
Yeah, that's a really good question. If I'm a student and I walk on the campus, not only do I think that I should be utilizing Wi-Fi as part of my educational experience, but I for sure should be using the really nice touch interface that I have in my pocket on my Android phone. And I should be able to use the data that it points to in the internet. So you have to be able to wire all that together or wirelessly bring it together. In the pod, the new pod has dual network. We just released this feature a couple weeks ago, I think now. It has two network interfaces, and there's a good reason for that. We're in a lot of secure environments in the corporate enterprise where an Ethernet cable gets plugged in, we're encrypting that data, but then you might have guests walk into a room that want to share as well, and this really sets us apart from some of the other products in the space. You have to support both use cases simultaneously, because if you're willing to get rid of the video cable, you have to support people walking in that came in off the street and other vendors that might present. So they connect to the wireless side securely and stream to the pod, while the corporate users are going to their existing infrastructure to share data. Now, you can't share data across those two networks, but you can get both posts, both streams onto the same shared display at the same time. So you could bring in people securely that way.
Interesting. Great. Okay, so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So we talked about the price. We talked about Wi-Fi versus Ethernet. Now let's tell me about iOS mirroring. I hear that you're doing that as well.
Yeah, that's a key use case. I'll give you an example. When we first launched the product, I've been working with a really large oil and gas services company down in Houston as part of a government initiative to find out more about collaboration in the conference room in general. Those guys have 129 different oil and gas applications, so geophysics applications, seismic visualizers, all this stuff. They've ported about half of those already to a tablet. So if I come into the room and I'm a geophysics guy and I launch an application and I need to get it on the screen, I can't do things like run a specialized Solstice app to do that. You can't put their data inside of my app for me to transport it. So our approach has been to allow you to mirror the whole device. We have a very robust, very high throughput mirroring protocol. We just released 9 support. We were the first back into market for that. The protocol changed, so we had to make some changes on our side to support it. But now we have iOS support on both Windows and the pod product. And we treat it, what's interesting is we use the AirPlay protocol, but we have to be careful about security and everything else. We're in some of the 3-letter agencies of the government. We're in financial institutions. AirPlay was built for the home. So we have to put our own wrapper around it to make sure that it's secure. So for example, if I'm moderating a screen, someone can't walk in and use AirPlay to just blow their data right on top of a CEO's presentation. Instead, we pipeline all their data through our own protocols. I will get an alert that someone's trying to post. If I'm a moderator, I can actually view the AirPlay stream in my own device. Even if it's an Android phone, I can hit accept and it goes to the screen. So it's not a sideshow for us. It's a core piece of the product.
Beautiful, and that takes us to our last point. I want to give you a full 10 minutes to do your demo, so let's try to do this one quickly. So central management, enterprise control. I know that's something that really sets you guys apart. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's huge, actually. I mean, when I first started thinking about, the opportunity of how do you manage the global pixel infrastructure that is all our shared display work surfaces, it became obvious that you need ways to control and manage all that pixel real estate. Even in as far back as 2011, there were 17 trillion pixels deployed in shared spaces. So there's a lot of infrastructure. It's far more important to get our hands around that than, for example, printers. It's a big IT infrastructure play. I'll go to meetings where, like with a financial institution or guys that are in the healthcare industry, and they'll want to spend the whole meeting talking about our dashboard. The IT dashboard is a way to select and manage instances of Solstice running on your network. You can reconfigure the appearance. You can change the splash screen that's shown in your conference rooms. You can monitor utilization. You get a heartbeat feedback, and you can remote control the screen. So you can do things like clear the screen, you can boot users, you can even send scripted commands to the dashboard to say, 8 o'clock at night, I want to clear all the screens at my university here in Australia. I'm giving you that example because it's happening. So it clears all those screens, students come in fresh the next day. All that stuff is part of the back end of Solstice that you don't necessarily see. It's not the sexy UI that we built that runs on your iPhone and things. But it's absolutely mission critical when you're talking to users about 400 room deployments. How are they going to upgrade the software? How are they going to monitor utilization and bandwidth? We've built all that into the IT dashboard.
Beautiful. All right, great. Well, we've got about 9 minutes left, so let's go ahead and jump right into your demo.
Okay, good. I'm going to switch video sources to get over to a camera that's pointing at a Solstice display here in the room with me. See, now you should see me, side view, sitting here with this screen here that's running our Solstice splash screen. Now, it's going to be a bit difficult. Maybe we can zoom in a little bit on it from the camera here. It's going to be a little bit difficult to see it, but I think you'll get the gist of things. I've got a laptop that I'm working on here. I've got iPads. I've got my own Android phone. All these things are sitting on a network. When you first walk into the room, you're told by the splash screen, if you don't have the application installed, just type in this IP address into a browser. That browser will auto-download our client. It'll auto-unpack it and then launch the application. And because we're sort of, we've embedded the IP address in a self-extracting archive, we're able to have that client automatically connect to the screen that you downloaded it from. So it really is a one-click, get to your browser to get the client and get started. I've already got the client here, so I'm going to go and run it on this side.
Great. And yeah, I'll just mention while you're doing that, one of the bullet points I have here for this is one of the things we didn't really talk about yet is the fact that you can have unlimited users and unlimited people sharing at the same time. So here's my bullet point there for that. That is pretty much revolutionary.
That goes to our core technology. We didn't use off-the-shelf, like motion JPEG and things like that. Those things would completely fall apart if you had 30 students at Wharton all connected and 10 of them streaming their HD desktops together. The heritage is back into some earlier technology that we had worked on even back as far back as academic research. But one, it allows lots of people to join. It allows lots of people to connect and share. And what you're going to see, in fact, I'll do it now. I'm going to share my desktop. So I just did that. It's now up on the screen, and that's a live video feed, so I can move around desktop windows. Obviously, I could open applications. I'll open this PDF document. It pops up on the desktop, and it's all live. That's a core use case. All I did to make that happen was click the display name in my UI, click share my desktop. But it really doesn't stop from there because, we treat the display like a shared resource. I should be able to do other things. So I'm going to share a video. Let me go into here. I've got content I want to share. My favorite TED Talk, for example. I'll throw that on the screen. And then that'll start to stream live on the desktop. So if I go here and hit play on it.
Right. And for people that like specs, you guys do it is capable of 1080p 30, correct?
That's right. It is. Now you're always going to be limited depending on your own network. So, if you've got a network that's got round trip times that takes you to, Japan and back, we're going to have to inherit that. We're not running on a specialized infrastructure. Now, if you had 10 desktops running, you would not get 1080p 30 frames a second for sure. What I will say is we carefully degrade performance on our own encoder dials, and this is some of our proprietary stuff. The clients know how the server's doing, and they will slowly change their own encoders. They will slowly back off how fast they're trying to send, so that everybody degrades together. Some of the competitors in the market will have, a limitation of 4 posts, for example. That's because they know if the 5th post came in, everybody would fall flat on the ground. It would be over. What we do is we allow you to flex, softer, so you can have 6 posts on the screen, maybe running at 12 frames a second, but that's what's happening. That would be 6 videos, by the way, because when the desktop doesn't change, we don't send any data. It's 0 bandwidth. We can detect really on the fly per frame how much data we need to send. So here I've got a video, and also you'll notice that this is interactable. So I can go up to a screen and hit that guy and look at it, the video live high. This is my desktop. I can look at that and throw it back to position. I'm going to go ahead and do the same with a bunch of other posts. So I've already posted one media file. I'm going to go ahead and throw up a couple other things here. Go into example content here.
And this is something that you don't really, I've never seen in the market too, where you're not just screen sharing here. You are sharing individual documents that a teacher or collaboration environment could interact with.
Or team, collaboration team.
That's absolutely right. So we call those posts. And the philosophy really is, why would I limit you to taking your window and sharing just that window? A lot of our users, for example, will say, you know what, I've got financial data that I don't want to have in the meeting already on my desktop. I don't want to rearrange my desktop. Let me share my PowerPoint window only, and maybe my Word document window, and that allows you to multiplex the posts out onto the screen, and then be managed independently. So each of these posts now can be looked at separately. Here's a video. I'm going to move that over to this side. And I've got a bunch of images and a desktop, and they're all live streamed. So you can see that if I go to the PC and move things around, like, page up, page down that PowerPoint, and bring it up, it's changing live with our video encoder. Another thing that we do that's very unique, I'm a big believer, when I did those studies I mentioned earlier with all the people in oil and gas, U.S. government, education, one of the big problems in meetings today with the old video cable paradigm that we lived with for so long is context switching. It's not only about getting meetings started slowly, it's about having participants free-form participate along with all their contextual data. So other products that may boot you out of a session when another user connects, what we allow you to do is take media and move it off screen to discuss later. And the things I'm doing up here on the touch panel, everyone can do in the meeting when they connect with their own UI. So you have an elegant UI that looks just like this. All the posts on the screen you'll be able to see in the UI back on your own device. And it's really a touch interface. It allows you to interact with it in a seamless way. So here on the video controls, for example, I can control that video. Let me pull some other stuff off so you can look at it bigger. I can actually control it live. So if I want to open up the video controller menu and say, let me rewind this video back to somewhere previous so we can take a look at it, I can do that even though it's streaming off of this laptop that is its source. It's all about collaborative control over the posts and the layout in the workspace. If we want to look at something briefly, I double click it and then I can hit to go back. Do you want to go ahead and mirror the iPad? We support an iPad, Android phones. I'm just pulling up my Android phone. I'm going to throw that in there as well. Just have to connect to the webinar network here.
Great. And just time check here. We got about a minute left.
Okay, great. And so I've got now an iPad live. Go ahead and use it. There's an iPad. If I want to take a look at that iPad closer, I can double click to bring it into view, draw it back. I can also control based on user, which is unique. So we actually denote what users are connected. Everybody's post gets a border color that matches their user. I can click the user and say, let's show all that user's post, let's hide them. That tells me that that's the iPad and it has one post currently that's streaming in live. And it supports everything the same way. One of the difficult things in this market is how do you create a uniform user experience across all these disparate devices? And I think we've got that nut cracked. So when I walk into a meeting, I don't think, oh no, I have my Android phone and my PowerPoint's in Dropbox. now I've got to relearn a UI because I'm used to, using a physical button to connect to something, and it doesn't work with this device. So everything's the same across all the different devices. And we've worked really hard to make the user experience elegant and enjoyable to use. It's really the only way to go with the video cable disappears from the meeting.
Wow.
But that's kind of a whirlwind tour.
I can't thank you enough for being part of this stream here. We didn't get to talk about the enterprise control. We didn't get a chance to do a demo of it, but I'm sure you guys have a ton of information on your website about it.
Yep, as well as plenty of other videos.
Here we are at 1:20, so we're going to end this live stream. Thank you so much for being a part of this, Christopher. This was a great webinar.
Thanks for having me.
Yep,
thanks a lot.
You definitely have a very exciting product, and we've used it. We have a license here as well, so it's quite the collaborative tool, and it's
nice to hear. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, it's exciting to use, and we hope, we wish you the most success possible.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
Have a nice day.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much.